Oh, yes. I won't take much time. I want to welcome people who will be answering our very difficult leadership questions. Hearing from one person is good, but hearing the same thing from different people is even better.
My name's Peter Motanyi, and I serve with Cornerstone, specifically at the CLA.
CLA is Cornerstone Leadership Academy. Yes.
Williams, my name. I serve with Cornerstone at office here.
So my name is Lydia. I work at RDB, and I work in the skills office, and my work revolves around employment promotion. So I did the internship program there that promotes employment. I'm very happy to be with you this evening.
We are very happy to have you. Thank you for accepting our invitation. I'll go straight into the question. So we're talking about leadership. We're talking about leaving a legacy. And I know each one of you has a different thought and idea on this subject. But I want us to start on what are some of the key foundational leadership values that you believe every leader should have, regardless of the industry they're in or position they hold. Everyone is a leader at their own level. So, you as a person, what do you think are key? So key means there are few. If everything else were to be taken away, what would be left as a leadership value for you?
So I thought, when I got this question, I thought the key things, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what you're leading, either you're leading your life or you're leading a group of people, are really three things. One is integrity. And I know, being a Cornerstone member, that is not a foreign word. Integrity is very, very fundamental. And then two is clarity. And then three is empathy. So let me expound on that. So integrity is, I think you guys know what it is. In this life, when you're in school, when you're working, you're always interacting with people. Your actions, your behaviors, and what you do. Every single time I'm doing something, I think about how much I love to sleep. And whenever I'm taking a decision, like, is this something that will allow me to sleep at night? One example, so this one time we were at work, and a colleague of mine, we were supposed to go to a workshop. So he's like, these things, you don't really have to show up. I'm like, so our supervisor really said, we can't both go. So, but don't worry. I'll do the paperwork for my end, and then when it comes out, I'll edit and add your name, so you can get that money as well. So when you go to your workshop as well, you do the same. You process your documents, edit out yours, and add mine, so we can both get that money. And how much was it? It was like 200K. And I'm like, money? Okay, I like money as much as I like sleep. But you mean to tell me I won't show up, but then I'll get the money? He's like, yeah. People do these things all the time. People do these things all the time. What do you mean? So I was like, I don't think that would look good on my name. In that specific time, my integrity was tested. I was like, no, I don't think I'll be able to sleep knowing that has happened. But he had convinced me, everyone does that. But in my right mind, I was like, there is no way. It looks like something small, but if something like that comes out to light, it is very embarrassing. So integrity is very key. Even if everybody is doing the same thing, it doesn't make it right. If it's wrong, it's still wrong. So being able to keep your integrity is very key as a leader. Two, clarity. So being clear on what you want to achieve in your daily life on a day-to-day basis. When you wake up, you're like, okay, sometimes you don't know what you want to do for the day. but at least have some clarity of who you are and where you're headed. That will save you from engaging in things that do not really concern you. You know, I also have a story for that, but I'm going to skip over that. And then the other crucial thing, maybe we can get into that story later, on clarity. But the other important thing is empathy. Being able to empathize with what people are going through. As a leader, if you are leading people and someone tells you, hey, I'm not able to come into work, my child is sick, or my wife is going through something, can I work from home? You know, and being reasonable and not saying, I don't have children, I don't have a husband, like that really shouldn't be a concern. You know what I'm saying? But be able to empathize with that person and say, hey, I understand. As long as you fulfill your duties, please remember to make time. If you can't come in this Thursday, can you complete your tasks even over the weekend? 100% of the time they will understand. Because if you're able to make those adjustments for them, you're able to empathize with them. Tomorrow, as a leader, if you have a load of work that you really need someone to stay an extra time, they will stay because they understand. They're like, at a particular point when I needed time off, she really understood my case. Yeah. Now, I also understand that this needs to be achieved. It's a tight schedule, but we still need to stay behind an hour or even 2 hours. And this has happened in my workplace. With my team, there's a time we had so much work. And the team stayed in the office until 9 p.m.
Wow.
Without pushing anyone. They were like, we have to get this thing done. It's very important. But the reason they stayed and they were happy to stay is because even like to each individual, when they need a time off, they say, I'm going through this, please grant me this time off. And then I say, it's okay, take care of that, take care of your health, and then come back to work when you feel better. So if you're able to empathize with someone, if you're able to understand what they're going through, they will also understand what you're going through at a particular time. You know what they say, it's a 9 to 5. If 5 reaches, I'm out. But if you're able to extend grace and empathize with someone, they'll stay with you even till 11.
Late. Wow.
So,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
So integrity, clarity, and empathy. Yes, William, tell us, what are some of the key things or values you think a leader should have?
Among all the things that a leader should have, the greatest of all, in my opinion, I don't know whether it is subject to debate or what, but for me, your value system. People judge you by your personality, not by your position. And we should never confuse our values with our positions. Oftentimes, we judge leaders by the position they have, by the title they hold, by, the degrees they have. But the truth is, that's all good. But at the end of the day, it comes to nothing if you cannot pass on your value system to other people. Yeah. One of the things that comes to mind again is your value system determines your name. A leader is there to leave a good name. The Bible teaches that a good name is better than an expensive perfume. Assuming we are all here, what do you think the descendants of Hitler are thinking right now? The great-great-grandchildren of Hitler. They don't even want to be associated with the name Hitler.
Yeah.
They don't want to be associated with, all those other names. So, value system, your belief system is key. People will value your values more than the position you hold. People may respect your position, but people love you for your values.
Peter, tell us.
Thank you so much. If you had welcomed me earlier, I would say I won't add anything to what the elders have said. But I will share a few in an acronym called FAT. F-A-T. As simple as that. Just get it that way. Leaders need to be faithful, they need to be available, and they need to be teachable. And faithfulness drives you to do what you're supposed to do. It attracts accountability. It attracts love for people that you're serving with. It attracts the sense of responsibility because you want to be faithful to your master. And availability brings that love for people. It's hard to lead people that you don't love. It's hard to serve a vision that you don't love. And you can't love something that you're not available for. So availability makes it like easy for you to serve it wherever you're serving. When you're available fully, you're not like, your mind is not divided, your attention is not divided, your leadership is not divided in too many other things, but to that thing, you're available. And then the teachability part of it. You need to be teachable as a leader. And we see when Jesus was trying to identify who to be his disciples, he passed by these fishermen who were good at fishing, who had like very many years of experience in fishing. And these guys had had a bad night of fishing. And Jesus was like, let me see how teachable these guys are. And then he told them, it was turning into morning hours. And with fishing philosophy, it is clear that you can get a lot of fish when it is at night, not during daytime. And it has become like morning, it was becoming daytime. And these are experienced fishermen, not runners. And Jesus tells Peter and John, throw your nets again for you to fish. And these fishermen are like, you're not serious. This is a son of a carpenter trying to bring carpentry skills in the fishing industry. They would have said, no way. You're not sure of what you're talking about. That's carpentry work, not fishing skills. But these guys, despite of their experiences, they were able to lower their ego and throw their nets again. And by doing so, they brought out the spirit of being teachable. The teachability spirit made Jesus bring them. And then when they threw their nets, they caught a lot of fishes. And then after catching a lot of fishes, Jesus was like, leave your fish, follow me. The availability part of it. They were like, okay, it's a lot. We would have got a lot of money, but we are able to leave everything and follow you. And that availability part made them stand out to be looked at as faithful people. And then with those three, Jesus grabbed them. He put them on the discipleship like curriculum. They did it for the 3 years. And then when Jesus left after some time, people met them and they were like, these are the other men that turned the world upside down. Because they were teachable, they were available, and they were faithful. Thank you.
Good enough. If you can act on that, we're good to go for the next month. But thank you so much. One of the things that stood out for me from what you shared is majority doing the wrong thing doesn't make it right. They can't be the same. So have you seen any changes in the values in leadership? Have you seen any changes with the time that you've been a leader or you've been a student of leadership? And are these changes good? Have they been diluted?
A complex question would require a lot of time, but let me just nail it this way. At the end of the day, for me, that's my opinion, leadership is about you, is about me, more than where I am. Because the truth is, this 21st century, there is a lot coming out. And if we are not careful, we shall find ourselves, swarmed up or engulfed in those bad things that are happening. So, your life is more important. And for me, your life is your leadership, because your life is the leadership you live more than where you serve. The truth is, for somebody to be popular doesn't mean impact. Not all popular people are impactful. Why? Because there are some popular people for bad things. But, like Peter was saying, Jesus comes and gets these guys and transforms them and leaves them. So, let me summarize it this way. Even when everybody is saying this is the right way, as long as it doesn't coincide, it doesn't concur with who you are, I think you need to pay a deaf ear to that. You don't need to fall prey of the circumstances and situations. For example, many young men today have gone into homosexuality because there is a lot of monetary returns. Many younger people today have gone into prostitution because it is rewarding monetary-wise. But even when other people are doing it, that doesn't mean that everybody else should do it. So at the end of the day, you need to live and lead with your life more than your position, more than your title. At the end of the day, people will judge you by your values, as I said, more than where you are. So the world is crazy. You hear all these stories, but Jesus says we should go and be the salt and the light. Matthew 5:13. So go and be the salt and the light where you are. Like Lydia is saying in our office. For me, she's a giant in the kingdom of God. Even when she may not go in the news, people to know what she did. But there is an invisible eye that will always judge your actions more than, any other thing that you may do.
Well, thank you. I love that you're sticking to your first point, the value system. The value system. So allow me conclude my question, the answer that you gave to my question. Your value system, it's yours, so it's you to know if there's water, too much water, and you need to add more values, or there's, a lot of values and, it's yours. It's your value system, so treat it the way you want it, but make sure it's not popularity, it's impact. I think that's the right way to summarize his answer. Lydia, all this is easy to say. I know it's easy to say. It's easy to come and sit and tell people, inspire these people, leadership values. These are the core things. But the truth is they are hard to live and do. That is the truth. How many of you think it's easy? I don't know about you, but to me it's hard to be teachable because I think I know. In my head, I'm sure I know things. So being teachable is hard. It's hard to be faithful. Sometimes you just need to, you just have that need. Lydia, my question is, what would be your advice? And I want it in a practical way, not from a leadership book. What would be your advice to someone whose leadership values are put to the test daily? And this doesn't have to be maybe, a boss who is asking you to sign things you're not supposed to sign. This can be in simple terms like listening to instructions. It's a value someone needs to have to be a good leader. Listen to instructions. So what advice do you give to someone, these things are good, but I can't. How can they?
That's quite very interesting because, it happens all the time. But this is one thing that I've tried to do in my life setting boundaries for yourself and also for the other person. For example, in your working environment, you have someone who keeps testing your values. If there is one key skill that is very important on this planet, it's communication. So being able to tell someone, you're really testing my boundaries, or this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I want you to do, so that we do not collide with each other. And then sticking to your word as a person. If you say, I'm going to do A, B, C, please make sure you do it, because it's not all about just saying, I'm going to do this. If you're going to wake up and lay your bed, if you say to yourself, Lydia, today I'm going to wake up and lay my bed, please lay your bed so that you stick to that. You have to be clear with yourself and communicate, starting even with yourself, and say, I know it's Friday, I could go to Cadillac, but I have to read. And you discipline yourself to that, and you stick with it. William said about pain and change. That also happens. It is painful to follow through with what you've said. When it comes to setting clear boundaries, I'm going to say this like in a workspace. You have a boss who keeps coming saying, do this, do that, do this. And before you finish what you're doing, I don't know if you've had such instances, even at home. Maybe it's your mother, or she says, go to the shop. Before you can even start going, I need you to clean the dishes. Before you can even start on that, and then they're bringing, they're piling on something. This is where you take a stance and you say, okay, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, as you requested. Now, which one of these is a priority? So I can start with that. That is setting boundaries and precedents. So when you set a precedence that you're a person who achieves or who does what they say they're going to do, you gain respect from that. So when you stand and set your boundaries and you say, you told me to do A, B, C, D, these look to be so many tasks that are going to take me time. Which one should I start first with? So you're setting boundaries to the other person and to yourself. So you're setting up yourself for success instead of failure. It's like you keep piling all this work on me. Please, let's look at what is the priority. Which one should I start with? That same applies to your life as well. If you have so many things to read, take a step back and say, okay, which one am I going to start with? Is it the math? Is it the history? Or is it the economics? Okay, if I'm supposed to go to church and I'm supposed to read and I'm supposed to meet with my friend, which one should I start with? So being able to take a step back, set clear boundaries for yourself, and even if there is another person involved, yourself and the other person, yourself and your duties. That really helps you to prioritize what is important and move forward from that.
I know that you interact with many generations in terms of age. There are many age groups that you have interacted with in the past with Youth Impact Mission, and then with the community you are part of, the generation you're part of, even the community at the academy. So you're dealing with teenagers, young adults, then adults, then older people. I'm sure you seek advice from different people. And my question is, yes, we've talked about these things, but I'm sure there's a difference between what young people are thinking of in terms of leadership and what the older generation is thinking or thought of leadership. So what are you seeing young people, not being alert to? What is the older generation not embracing that they should embrace? Because it's two-way. One, the young, I'll say the young, I'm young, yes, I'm young. It's true, guys. What is it that we're not paying attention to? The old, what is it that they're not embracing? Change is coming. It is here, we see it. What do they need to embrace in terms of leadership?
They are very impatient, and we've had many cases of recent of young people committing suicide. And to find out the reasons why, you find that someone committed suicide because they didn't give him pocket money. That wasn't the case. It's lack of impatience, lack of patience. And the other thing that is challenging young people that will affect their leadership is lack of deeper interpersonal relationship. There is no relationship that is like interpersonal. It's now an online. Your friends are those ones that follow you on Instagram. Those that see your TikToks and your statuses. Those that post you are the ones that you think they're your friends. And lack of that is a big challenge. The older generation was lucky that there wasn't this technology that is taking our attention, that is making our attention divided. And people were able to interact, to have this deeper interpersonal connection, and you would understand someone, it would be easy to be empathetic. But nowadays, it's hard for young people to have empathy because they are not in deep relationship with other people. They have a lot of strong bonds with their phones, their social media handles, and their social media community, and it is very difficult for them to bring it practically on ground and apply it in their leadership journeys. And older people, we are struggling with adaptability to new things that is coming out. We are still stuck to the old leadership style of intimidation, where a leader enters in an institution and everyone is like, the boss is here. We are giving fear instead of hope. We are giving intimidation instead of inspiration. And with that style, we are not going to be able to lead in this era or in this generation. We are in a generation where one of the biggest tools of leadership is love, where we need to love people that we are working with, where we are going to understand them, and then as we love them, understand them, serve them, then they will be able to serve the vision, and they will be able to buy into us. John Maxwell, in his book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, law number 14 is the law of buying in. And it says, people buy into the leader and then into the vision. It's hard for people to buy into you until they understand that you care, until they understand that you love them, until they understand that you believe them. But that is not the old style of leadership. It is becoming a challenge because you expect them to know that you're their leader with the old style, and as they should serve, they should do as you wish. And they know a lot, many of them. They are informed. They are used, young people are used to internet and technology, and this technology had made the world like a global village where you can get information in the institution that is doing the same thing that you're doing, that is in the US, in Korea, in China, and then you get that information on your table before even your boss gets it. And because your boss is not willing to hear from you, your organization will remain stuck because they can't humble like their ego. They can't lower their ego to be on your level, to get you to understand you. So it's a challenge with the old generation, where we feel like we are old, we have seen a lot, we've gone through a lot, and young people should respect our perspectives. It's not going to take us to the next level. Things have changed. It's until we understand that, yes, we've gone through a lot, but all that a lot is not enough for us to move on. We need a lot more from this updated generation that is going to take us far. Some people are choosing to learn nothing from a lot of things that they have learned. And that won't develop us. Thank you.
Lack of patience. Good things take time. Good things take time. And shortcuts. We've been taught a lot about shortcuts. And young people, we are looking for shortcuts. We want to take shortcuts, but it's dark. We'd rather take the long route where you can see clearly. I can see I'm going there. It's a long route, but I can see. Rather than taking, a shortcut that's dark and you fall into, a ditch or something. Thank you so much, Peter. And thank you all for your insights. Older people, you need to adapt. Catch up quickly. Otherwise, we're leaving you behind, and I hope, we can take this message. It's not just for us. It's for people out there. So don't stay with this information. But I want to take 3 questions, just 3, if there are any. Just 3.
I will ask Pastor William to clarify on this. In this generation of ours, everything is right. It's my right to do this, to do that. Especially for younger generation. And we want to be readers at the same time. And through your presentation, I liked this thing where you say that you can't grow unless you change. And through changing, you have to go through pain. So how can you expound?
Sheikh Rashid said this. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. And when you see the current generation, we are living in easy times. But if we are not careful, these easy times are creating weak people. Can you imagine? There are young men and younger women who can't wash their clothes. You find a girl of 22 years can't wash clothes, can't cook. Because they have grown up in a house where everything is there. Now, chances are very high that these weak people will create hard times again in future. So, for me, this is how I answer. My right should be informed from the way I think. Not the way somebody thinks, not the way somebody talks. Because at the end of the day, it's your business. It's about you. The truth is, life is very hard. When you take it lightly, it goes the way. When you become serious with it as a leader, it shapes up. So for me, not everything right is right for you. That's how I can interpret that. Not everything right is right for you. That is why you would have gone to other places Friday. I think Rebecca was alluding to that. Friday, people are going somewhere. There are overnights, there is a disco, there is what. All that is right. But you chose to be here. Why? Because you thought that this is right for you. So whatever is right isn't right for you.
Thank you. So my question goes to Bishop Peter. So I have this question, like, you see, there is this generational gap, the old ones and the young ones. So they think that the young generation that we are raising, we are not sharp like they used to be. So that they see us like we will not make it not because of the way we are right now. So the question that I want you, like, so what can we do as a young generation so that the older ones they can see that we are capable of facing this real right What advice can you give to the older generation that how can they cooperate with that so that our aims and our goals will come?
Do what they think you can't do and make them wrong. If they say you're lazy, you are the one to prove to them that you're not by words, but by actions. And our actions will prove to them that we are more than what they think we are. But if we stay in the bed and cry because they said we are lazy, then we are proving them that they are very right and we are what they think we are. So we just need to go out of what they see us in and do what they don't expect us to do, become extra, and then by doing more than their expectations, then we are proving them wrong.
I want us to pause this conversation.
So how do you grow your leadership? It stems from the company you keep, the books you read. So the first step is you being present here, because you're tapping into the knowledge that is being shared here, and then you apply that knowledge into your life. So in your daily actions, that's how you actually grow your leadership. In your daily life, you first of all, you have to have a time to reflect on yourself, and say, me as a person, who am I? Am I also comfortable with the person that I am? Like, if today I'm out there, like, do I love myself? That's actually, I think that's the first fundamental thing. When you love yourself, you bring good things to yourself. You feed yourself good food. Any food is in the house? Yes. Oh, yeah. So if you love yourself, you feed yourself good food, you keep good company, and then from that you develop yourself to a state that you're actually pushing out good content. Does that help? Yeah. So because you can't pour from an empty cup. We know that. So, but how do you fill your cup? The company you keep, the books you read, the things you do to your body. If you need to exercise, if you need to feed it right, if you need the things you do in your daily step by step, those are the ones that build up your leadership. Even most fundamentally, like even in your work, if you're given a task, and this stems from the reputation you also build. If people know you, that if you give Fred that assignment, trust and believe, you don't have to check in, just set the deadline and you have good work. Just setting that precedence gives you a leg up. But if you're this person that they give you something to do, and then they have to keep checking on you if you did, or if you keep producing unproductive work, then you're setting a different precedence.
Feed right, keep the right company, and share the right content. Yeah? You can't collect from an empty cup. I love that. Help me appreciate these three as they take back their seats. Thank you so much for your time. We want to honor your time as much as possible. So when we say 2 hours, we want to keep it 2 hours. The more we grow as leaders, the more we'll learn these different things. I want us to end from here, but I want to appreciate you one more time. Thank you for making it. Thank you for learning and for investing in yourself. It is worth it. Trust me, over time we'll see these things paying off.